Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, El Shabbat, Shem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles. Salute to you, brothers, teaching the word in sincerity and in truth. You have a lot of these UFO transparency meetings that are happening in in Washington. Pretty much they're allowing people to come out and talk about UFOs, different kind of individuals, so-called whistleblowers and things like that. Now, obviously, with everything, there's going to be information and disinformation, so everything that we do, we filter through the right channels. You can't just, you know what I'm saying? So, to put that out there, I'm just going to listen to a bit of this, see what comes out. I haven't listened to it, but I'm going to start doing videos on these UFO transparencies and tying with the scripture. So let's play. Should we go to the start?
And official, awesome. Secrecy. Good morning and welcome to the hearing regarding UAP disclosures. For too long, the issue of unidentified anomalous phenomena, commonly known as UAPs, has been shrouded in secrecy, stigma, and in some cases, outright dismissal. Today, I want to state clearly that this is not science fiction or creating speculation. This is about national security, government accountability, and the American people's right to the truth. I've spoken now to a number of whistleblowers from the military, to include the infamous Eglin Air Force Base incident that occurred when myself and former Representative Matt Gaetz, as well as Representative Burchett, followed up on a lead from multiple active duty Air Force pilot whistleblowers that alleged that the United States Air Force was covering up UAP activity at Eglin Air Force Base. We have heard from a number of whistleblowers, specifically military pilots, that the reason for not coming forward publicly is out of fear that speaking out would cost them their flight status and potentially their careers. This is unacceptable. We cannot protect our airspaces if our best trained observers are silenced. We cannot advance science if we refuse to ask questions. And we cannot maintain trust in government if we keep the American people in the dark. Now, Congress has tried to fix this problem. Congress tried to create formal channels through the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, also known as AARO, and the Intelligence Community Inspector General for service members and officials to make...
Yeah, really, it's the chariot, there's so much chariots that really got to release it. And that's what they're all about anyway. They're worried about the ships to renew the scriptures. You go into Revelation 19, even Revelation 12, Satan and his armies, even the dragon, because that's the beast system. So that's Esau. Him and his planes, his jets, and he worships Satan. So he worships the spiritual demon Satan. But who's that talking about? He's talking about the elites and their armies and the beast system of this world. They're gonna try and fight the Lord and the angels that are coming in that are in UFOs. And they're seeing UFOs right now. So let's play.
Disclosures. But the reality, the reports come in are often to brush aside, slow walk...
When I say they're seeing UFOs right now, talking about you had that video about Ezekiel's wheel. You had other videos. Out there, you know what I'm saying?
Or met with skepticism rather than serious investigation.
That 3D Atlas.
Recently, the former AARO director, known as Sean Kilpatrick, attacked our witnesses and members on this committee. It should be noted that he's a documented liar and brings into question what his purpose at AARO really was if it was not to follow up on investigations and disclose his findings to members of Congress. A former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Chris Mellon, described a report published by AARO that found no evidence that any USG investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed any sighting of UAP-represented extraterrestrial technology. As the most error-ridden and unsatisfactory government report I can recall reading during after decades of government service. Mellon further noted that this was a first error report submitted to Congress without the Director of National Intelligence's sign-off and seemingly excluded input from any scholars or experts who have studied or written extensively about this topic, as would normally be in any other case in this field. Mellon determined that this report failed to fulfill the congressional mandate under which it was required, omitted entire agencies with known investigations or activities related to UAPs, and omitted any discussion of efforts to hide classified or unclassified information about UAP. Such efforts were unaddressed by the report, despite the existence of agency records and investigations concurring with them, including those at U.S. Customs and Border Protection. If we set up offices and oversight bodies only to let them become graveyards for testimony, or worse yet, ruses for pretending to investigate when in actuality there was no follow-up, then we are not doing our jobs. In recent months, Congress has also been presented with evidence that points to technologies that, to our knowledge, are beyond our current capabilities.
Yeah, the chariots, the so-called UFOs, are beyond their capabilities. You know, the wheel within the wheel, the fire, pillar by day, fire by night. They're the UFOs. So, you know, just that pillar by day, fire by night, scriptures clearly so-called UFOs. They light up. That's why when people might see they might call it, somebody might see a shooting star. They might name it because it's so big and bright that it's just a chariot to do things like that. You know what I'm saying? So if you go into remote areas, you'll see more chariots. But here it is, the cities have cut most of the UFO sightings. And that's pertaining to prophecy. That's in the scriptures, actually. Because that's why they like this. Because them chariots are all over their cities. Watching them, so what's their thing? Oh, you know what, we need to do something about this. You know, they're getting watched, they're getting terrified. Revelation 19, funny enough, they you know what I'm saying? Lord and angels is on their case. Amos 9:8. Behold the eyes of the Lord power, Yahweh. Okay. Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Do you remember we say Ba'asham Yahweh Shai is in the name of Yahweh Shai? Because you gotta go through the Son before you get to the Father. That's how it's set up. So anybody that's against the Lord is pretty much your antichrist. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon this sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. So the Lord's going to come down and wipe things out. The chariots, zapping stuff. And it's going to deliver the elect. So a lot of people are going to get put out. Alright, that's why we're in this truth, man. So we don't get snubbed out. We don't get whacked. You know what I'm saying? Zapped and, you know what I'm saying? Let's go on.
It is our duty as elected representatives to follow the facts wherever they lead and to ensure that those facts are not buried under classification stamps or bureaucratic excuses. Let me be clear. Whether UAPs represent adversarial technology, natural phenomena, or something beyond current human understanding, Congress has a responsibility to investigate. If these objects are foreign in origin, then they pose a direct threat to our national security. And if they represent something unknown, they demand rigorous scientific inquiry, not ridicule, not secrecy, and not silence.
They represent a threat to their national security. The UFOs represent a threat to their national security. You're hearing that stuff. You heard her say that. And she said some other stuff there about it being transparent and stuff like that. But like I said, that's what I'm saying. Right now we're in the end time, so it's all out. It's all coming out because that's really what they want to focus on. chipping people and controlling the people, and then trying to defend themselves against them ships. The things that these elites are thinking about is not what you're thinking about. What the common person is thinking about. You know, they're thinking about different things, higher things, and that. We could prove it.
Are very high. Adversarial nations are not waiting for us to catch up. They are studying these phenomena as well aggressively, as multiple nations have also announced their own parliamentary investigations into this very topic. If we are to continue to hide information from ourselves, we risk strategic surprise. If we continue to ignore pilots and service members, as well as countless government whistleblowers, we risk losing their trust. And if we continue to shield the truth from the public, we risk eroding the very foundation of democratic accountability. This is why this hearing matters. This is not about fueling speculation. This is about demanding the basic transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community and other military contractors. It is about asking the questions every American has the right to ask. What do we know? What don't we know? And why in a free society are we being told so little? A major barrier to this committee's inquiry into UAPs has been the lack of cooperation and transparency from the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. In preparation for previous UAP hearings, the committee repeatedly asked the Department of Defense to allow members to view videos and files related to UAP incidences. Unfortunately, the Department of Defense notified the committee staff that due to the department's special access program rules, only members of the House Armed Services Committee, as well as the Defense Subcommittee on House Appropriations, also known as HAC-D, were allowed to be read in onto such programs. For a non-committee member to be allowed to view these documents and videos, individual members must be approved by the chairman and ranking member of both HASC and HAC-D. Independent staff oversight has presented a consistent problem for Congress, as well as program budgets are classified. Additionally, oversight reporting to Congress is classified and only provided to the authorizing and appropriations committees of jurisdiction. The American people are not fragile. They do not need to be shielded like children from reality. What they cannot tolerate and what they will not forgive is a government that withholds the truth and punishes those who dare to speak up.
Well, that's exactly what's been going on. You've been getting treated like your kids. And then they've been hiding things from you. That's why there's something called the secret counsel of the wicked in the scriptures. Look at that, just hide me from the secret counsel. Okay, let's type it in. Psalm 64 and 1 to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. So they're mortal enemies, right? Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. All right, so you got something called the secret counsel of the wicked. Let me do this. Let's see what comes up. Let me just do something as simple as this. I'll put it. See what comes up. I just want to get some pictures. So when you put it in, look, he's not really. It's showing me it's showing me a symbol. This is how secret they are. That it's not showing me people. It's showing me a symbol. For the aliens in the Illuminati. Prime. I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know what that's gonna might some look at that showing the greys. Might be some It's got the Queen there. We've got Illuminati. I don't even know what that is. It says Illuminati in there. You get some BS disinfo and shit, the greys and all that. But like I said, we ain't really focused. The greys, Illuminati Matrix, the UFOs, the UFOs, there is against them. He's not working with them. I don't know what this documentary keeps popping up. The pictures of the chariots don't look too bad. Anyway, that's all it's showing. Old pictures. Oh, this is what I was going to be typing this. I want to see what comes up. And mainly the pictures. I'll do more on this in a bit. I think Google's better than this than this. As a matter of fact, it's Kennedy families. It's got Lee's, Freeman, the Rockefeller, Rothschilds. All right, let's do this. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back.
I want to close with this. Future generations will look back at this moment and ask what we did when presented with the unknown. Did we look away, embarrassed or afraid, or did we pursue the truth with courage? I intend to be on the side of truth, transparency, and accountability, and I hope my colleagues on this task force will be able to do the same. To quote a few elected officials, Senator Schumer has stated, multiple credible sources allege a constitutional crisis over UFOs. Senator Rounds has stated that these are brilliant individuals and they are not making this stuff up. And our current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has stated very high clearances and high positions within our government in regards to these whistleblowers. Senator McConnell also described these whistleblowers as sane and credible. And the witnesses today are not alone. In fact, they're far from it. In fact, 34 senior military, government, and intelligence officials have broken their silence. This includes now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Senator Rounds, Senator Gillibrand, General Jim Clapper, the former director of the government's UAP task force, the former head of aviation security for the White House National Security Council, the former Secretary of Defense, and many more. Again, to quote Secretary of State Rubio in an upcoming documentary known as The Age of Disclosure, even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis that begins to spin out of control. And to quote Senator Gillibrand, who also went public in this documentary, it's not acceptable to have secret parts of this government that no one ever sees. It's time for the fundamental truths of UAP to be revealed to our nation's leaders and the public. It's time for the U.S. government to exercise transparency. And with that, I yield to Ranking Member Crockett for the opening statement.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. At a time of increasing distrust in government, it is important for Congress to take action to restore the government's credibility. Bringing transparency to an issue of great public interest is a step.
We're watching this. I'm gonna do a part 2 on this because we ain't got to the. But the point is, one of the main points is that Congress here is doing UFOs, live streams on UFOs being real. You heard all that? They're reading certain just things that they gotta go through. And they're discussing these ships. As a matter of fact, the Lord is coming in the ship, Revelation 1 and 7. So that's something that they got to deal with. Now, the elites know that. That's why all this symbolism and everything that they deal with is Babylonian, anything against Yahweh Shai, right? The music industry, it's always Satan. Why is it always going to be Satanism and anti-scriptures in the Bible, even though they'll try and quote the Bible? But they use it because it's mad. It's what it shows you. They ain't going against this book or any other book. It's always the scriptures and the Lord, Yahweh Shai. Right?
We're doing just that.
Everyone knows that silly numbers game isn't real.
No, this is Last War. It's made by all the fake ads. It's free, there's no ads, and it plays just like the ads. See, this game is just like the ads because the developers actually took all those.
Thank Chairwoman Luna for calling this bipartisan hearing to discuss unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP, which is today's term for what was commonly known as UFOs, unidentified flying objects. And while some people think of flying saucers when they hear these terms, it is vital that we focus on the real-world impact of UAPs on critical infrastructure, civilian safety, and national security. There is good.
It's always about safety, security, but they are coming for destruction. Zechariah 5. They call them UAPs. UAPs.
Reason to believe that most UAPs have origins far closer to home. Currently, NASA has not found any evidence that any UAPs have an extraterrestrial origin. Our adversaries are working to develop new capabilities to gain military advantages, and those efforts are likely explanation for the mysteries that we have.
This is fucking BS, man. You see what I'm saying? Now where did that come from? So now it's all, it's not extraterrestrials then. It's just some other government. Are you fucking crazy, man? You can't even take that serious. Now, does E and these do they have certain tech? Yeah, they do. They got tech. They want to mimic that, but they haven't got anything on that, nowhere near the level of the angelic UAPs, the angelic ships. Someone start calling them the angelic ships. They got nothing on them. So this is why some of this fucking shit, and it might be you might spend the next hour talking about some fucking tech that one of the secret governments is flying some tech or trying out tech. But you know what I'm saying?
Observed. Nevertheless, the federal government has a responsibility to the American people to investigate and provide transparent disclosures about every incident. The federal government is equally obligated to protect those who report what they've seen, especially to commanding officers and supervisors. And Congress should do everything in its power to protect whistleblowers and conduct oversight of agencies that are failing to provide that protection. Democracy depends on transparency, and transparency often relies on the courage of individuals willing to risk their careers, reputations, and in some cases, their personal safety to tell the truth. So I look forward to hearing from the witnesses today. We should welcome their accounts and acknowledge the bravery they have shown to come before us. We must ensure that all whistleblowers feel that they can come to Congress to tell their stories without fear of retaliation or professional consequences. We need transparency, not just to make better policy, but also to ensure that information flows between all those who need it. There are too many tragic examples in our history where information lapses and a lack of cross-agency coordination led to disaster. Just this year, failure to communicate between FAA and the Department of Defense led to tragedy over the Potomac. The Biden-Harris administration sought to eliminate some of these lapses when it established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office at the Department of Defense. AARO can convene sources from all branches of military, the FAA, and NASA to combine forces to create a comprehensive picture of what is happening in our skies. Some UAP reports have perfectly normal explanations: satellites, consumer drones, weather balloons, even pranks. But we need to track down each and every single UAP. The United States has millions of eyes in the sky, both electronic and human. But only the combination of civilian, commercial, and military sources can be.
They don't. So why? So the real question is then, right, with all this that they're saying, yeah, why is it then that to people that, if you might speak on this, you need to keep safety protected? What's all that about? What's happening to people that speak out? And obviously, remember, you got shills as well, so you're gonna have shills bringing information and disinformation, but they'll bring out information at the same time. There was that question, and there was another one which just slipped my mind. Slipped my mind here, but back to the first. Why do these cats need to be protected? Because that's what it is. I forgot the second question. But why is it? What was the big deal? If it wasn't information that they didn't want out, then why would they even want it? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. None of this, and then who is doing the shutting down? Obviously, these are same organizations we're talking about, and NASA, they're secretive as all out. That's why they have to do this whole. These people are coming out now because they basically open up the files to a degree, or to an extent. But what have you seen really come out?
Begin to create a complete picture. So we need to ensure that people can come forward and report what they have seen to the relevant authorities, and they have to have the right to do so without fear of retaliation. This country has a history of dedicated public servants standing up for what is right, even in the face of potential consequences. From the Pentagon Papers to Watergate to torture programs, whistleblowers have not only informed the public, but also empowered Congress to fulfill its constitutional duty of oversight. Past Congresses have written laws to grant legal protection for whistleblowers, and it is up to us to work responsibly with all sources to hold the executive branch accountable. We are here today to listen to the stories of those who have witnessed events of interest to the American people, and to support the policies that cultivate an environment that welcomes and protects whistleblowers. I hope this hearing will be an example of the respect and protection whistleblowers deserve and the importance of conducting oversight of the federal government. I yield back.
I am pleased to welcome the panel of witnesses for today's hearing. I'd first like to welcome Mr. Jeffrey Nusatelli. He's a United States Air Force veteran and a career federal employee with more than 20 years of experience in national security, law enforcement, and public administration. Next, we have Mr. Alexandra Wiggins. Mr. Wiggins is currently serving as a Senior Chief Operations Specialist in the United States Navy. Mr. Wiggins is testifying in his personal capacity today and not on behalf of the United States Navy. Next, I would like to recognize the gentlewoman from Nevada, Representative Titus.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman, ranking members, for allowing me to sit with you on this panel today. I'm honored to be able to introduce a witness here who is from my district, George Knapp, who has been the definitive expert and reporter on this topic that you're exploring today, UAPs or UFOs. George is a longtime friend, I would say that up front, but a very respected journalist and a recognized expert in this field nationally and internationally. Just a little something about George. He came to Las Vegas in 1979 and joined a KLS television station as a general assignment reporter in 1981. Since 1995, he's been the chief investigative reporter for that channel. He also hosts a national radio show you can listen to on Coast to Coast AM, which covers many of the paranormal topics that y'all are discussing. Over the years, George has been, as I said, recognized for his work. He's been honored with the Peabody Award, the DuPont Award, the Edward Murrow Award, and 27 different regional Emmys for his investigative reporting. Indeed, he has told Nevada's story with clarity, with objectivity, and with integrity. So I know that his testimony today is going to be of great interest and value to this committee. So thank you very much.
Next, we have Mr. Dylan Borland. Mr. Borland is United States Air Force veteran.
Okay, I guess we're going to go through all of them, do this introduction. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do a couple of parts to these, because they've been doing these. These things have been happening in different buildings. Yeah, I'm sure it's been in different buildings. But the so-called UFOs, the angelic ships, right?
And has a long career in federal service. And finally, I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Spielberger, a senior policy counsel at the Project of Government Oversight. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and the nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that the witnesses answered an affirmative. Thank you. You may take your seat. We appreciate you being here today, and I look forward to hearing your testimony. Let me remind the witnesses that we have read your written statements, and it will appear in full in the hearing record. Please limit your oral statements to 5 minutes, but I understand you have a lot to get through, so if it goes a little over, don't worry about it. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it is on and the members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you will turn green. After 4 minutes, the light will turn yellow, and when the red light comes on, your 5 minutes have expired, and we will ask you to please wrap it up. I now recognize Mr. Nusatelli for his opening statement.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman Luna, Ranking Member Crockett, and members of the task force for giving us the opportunity to testify today. My name is Jeffrey Nusatelli. I'm a former military police officer with 16 years of active duty service in the U.S. Air Force. I'm here today because the American people have both the right and the
Yeah, you get reputable people. Or should I say, when I say that, I mean, you've had military people in the military that they're submitting, look, they lag it and it'll be lagged, but then that's as far as it goes. Like, look, man, I've seen this, something in the sky. Even if, and there's recordings on this sort of stuff. NASA, you think they ain't got recordings? So you got to understand, why has it been hidden? And why have they said, so it just shows you that what's going on here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this one out. I'm going to do some more parts of this sort of stuff here. So, I mean, that was just mainly introductions and that, and then we go into certain things. But I'll do different parts of this. So, I'll catch you on the next show. Okay, with that, I'm going to say, shut up, one.